Hey listeners, this episode is brought to you by EF World Journeys. Today's travelers want more from their vacation. That's why more people are turning to travel professionals to help them explore the world with confidence. For nearly 35 years, EF World Journeys has been the go-to guided experiential travel company for leisure travelers who want to learn more about people, places, and cultures around the world. Its brands EF Ultimate Break, EF Go Ahead Tours, and EF Adventures serve everyone from Gen Z to baby boomers and help tens of thousands of US and Canadian travelers every year explore 400 bucket list destinations. EF World Journeys is one of North America's biggest guided group tour companies, and its expert planned immersive itineraries focus on the big moments and little things that make travel and meeting new people so rewarding. It's experiential travel that goes deeper, where every journey builds a connection, inspires wellness, and fuels a lifelong love of learning. EF World Journeys, guided by experts, driven by curiosity. To learn more, go to efworldjourneys.com.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of the Skiff Travel Podcast. This is the founder and CEO, Rafat Ali. I am continuing to do my summer stand-in as the podcast host for the Skiff Travel Podcast, and I'm interviewing people that I have met along the way in the travel industry, people that I get along with, people that I like, people that I find curious about what they're building. And we're lucky to have somebody who I met in Bangkok about 2 months ago at this point. And we've had a few chats. He spoke at our Skiff Asia Forum on stage appearance. He doesn't speak much at conferences, doesn't do much press in general. So I want to introduce Siradej Donavanik, who is the third generation of the Donavanik family that runs the Dusit hotels, the famous iconic Thai hotel, luxury hotel chain that's now has 9 different brands. You recently launched the 9th brand and are now expanding beyond sort of Asia, so to speak, and in Saudi, and you just signed a deal in France as well. So I'm going to address you as Champ because that's your nickname. So thank you, Champ. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Rafa. Thank you so much for having me in here as well.
As the young third generation hotelier, would you call yourself a hotelier? Would you call yourself you had essentially the new development at the company, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So my role is on paper is vice president of global development. But obviously off paper, I wear many different hats. Through various roles in the organization. But essentially, yeah, I still call myself a hotelier. Funnily enough, when I was a bit younger, I thought about the term hotelier, and it kind of like I just thought that it's quite like limiting. Because of the fact that we also see ourselves as a hospitality company. Not we I mean we don't just do hotels alone. But as I aged a little bit more and became a bit more mature, I realized, what, being a hotelier is actually really, really cool. You need to put a lot of impetus back around being, hoteliers, because it's such a, not only demanding job, but also such a fascinating job as well, that will open up so many doors of opportunities. So that's why I'm very proud to call myself that.
So let's start just generally on your personal journey. Did you want to join the family business? I know you started a music festival, Wonder Food, which, by the way, I love the name.
Yeah, actually, so I started Wonder Food off, like much later after I joined the, Dusit. But essentially, at the beginning, no, to answer you, like the truth, because obviously, when I was younger, was a bit of a rebel. Like I obviously wanted to go out from, like this whole family sphere of influence. So I kind of wanted to do my own thing. That I became a banker. And after 2 years, I realized that was a bad idea. Obviously,
Yeah.
I joined banking in 2007, which was not the usual.
Yeah, not the best time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was the best
right
time. The 2 years after, a year after was not a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I mean, I learned a lot, but then after a while, I just realized that I just needed to get out and kind of like come back and learn the tricks of the trade, in hospitality. That's exactly what I did, and I've been very, very much proudly, within this industry ever since.
Dusit is doing a lot of new expansion, new signings. We've been covering at Skift now, particularly this year.
Mm.
Just for those of you who don't know, Dusit. So you started expanding into Middle East, Saudi. I think you signed your second deal. You just signed literally this week or last week, or at least announced signing in France. I think 10 hotels is the initial plan.
No, no, actually, so in France, we just signed a joint venture agreement, with an office, family office in France, in which will help to, hopefully aggressively kind of, plant our flag in France and within the region, because we obviously would like to diversify ourselves out of our more kind of traditional areas where we operate, mostly in
Mm-hmm.
Asia and in the Middle East. We have signed this year 17 hotels already. Majority of what we have signed is actually in India. We've signed 6 hotels
Oh
in
yeah, I was
India.
gonna say India, which is I think
Yeah.
yeah, I saw the news on Skift that when it came out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But then the rest also, around Southeast Asia, in Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, for example, Thailand, of course, which is where we are based. Yeah, I mean, obviously, despite our diversification strategy to go into, you know, continental Europe, in which our main focus is very much in France and in the DACH region, so the German-speaking region.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we're also, pushing on
And
all fronts.
why that specific region? Why that specific region versus anywhere else in
I
Europe?
mean, we so I think as a company, we have had experiences, doing business in Germany before.
Hmm.
Like back in the 1990s, like our company, took over, the Kempinski group.
Right.
Yeah, so we have had experience with that before. Obviously, the Asian financial crisis came. Obviously we lost the brand and the company, and then we kind of like picked ourselves to refocus ourselves on Dusit as a holding, right, as a vehicle. But now I think that we are very much ready. After you know 2 decades of really much kind of building our own roots, building our business structures, the value proposition, what we are ready to offer to the market that is new to the Thai hospitality. So that's why we just thought that, it's quite an opportune time. Some, of course, like market like in Germany is, Austria, Switzerland is obviously very, very stable. Can't say that with, this side of the world as much, where it's a little bit more ups and downs, and it's a bit more cyclical as well. We do want to just diversify to, in that area. And France, of course, is one of the most visited countries,
Yeah.
in the whole
Will
world.
continue to be
So
for a while to come. Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, does the core proposition of the company now that sort of you're taking over and you and your generation is taking over, is still Thai hospitality, and what does it mean? What does Thai hospitality even mean? What does it mean in 2025?
Okay. So, for us, Thai hospitality, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, it's something that, Thai is something that we really want to push out, and we do use a lot of, I would say, nuances, from obviously the Thai hospitality. I mean, us being very much the, I would say, at the vanguard of really exporting this Thai hospitality out. And what you mean Thai hospitality is this whole kind of graciousness, service pillar, in which we also have, right, in which we kind of hone in on, one of which is the personalized services,
Yes.
in which we do, right across all of our brands. We also put a lot of focus on wellness as well.
Uh-huh.
Wellness and hospitality in Thailand very much go hands in hand.
Right.
And this is something that we really want to push out. And, in doing so, we have basically created more of a wellness kind of centric brands as well within our own,
Uh-huh.
branding architecture. The focus on food, for us, if you know that everybody loves Thai food,
Uh-huh.
in some way or shape or
Not
form,
every now
so
and then. I can take it every day, but yes.
thank you. No, so this is something that we really want to also kind of export out as well. But just like the warmth, kind of like the non-pretentious, more easy going, but also still very, very gracious and attentive type of hospitality, which I think is
High
very
touch,
much
yeah.
unique to Thailand. Exactly. And obviously, really much, looking at how do we engage the community more as well. Because the Thai, as within our own culture, we really much had this core, like independence kind of movement amongst our communities and neighbors, and then that's something that we really like to do, and this is why when we go out and open up our hotels abroad, we always have, a position of a community manager or community management within each of our own
Oh,
hotels to see, what we can do more to also serve and support the local community in which we are operating in, and how do we bring the wealth of that into the hotels as well. And so this is something that, and I think, I don't think is I would say that, yeah, we are unique to this, because I know that other cultures and other ways of hospitality also have their own very much uniqueness as well. But all
right.
of this combined is what is really simplified the that whole Thai graciousness and hospitality for me.
And as you think about sort of, would the right word be modernizing the brand under sort of, you say you were young once. To me, you're still young, and but so like under the, like, what would modernizing the Dusit brand mean as you're sort of thinking through the next phase? Dusit Thani just relaunched in Bangkok. I went to it 2 months ago just to do a visit. Gorgeous, beautiful, probably the most buzziest reopening of this year. Sorry, when did it open again? Reopen
September
September.
last
So
year.
last,
Yeah.
so last year. So one of the buzziest reopenings of last year. So how are you thinking about sort of the modernizing part, and maybe the Bangkok reopening as an example of it?
Yeah, well, Bangkok reopening is kind of like a truly kind of like, it's a real flagship project for us, right?
Yeah.
We spent, I would say about nearly 2 years, planning, designing, literally like that whole complex, and obviously 5 years in execution in terms of the constructions, development, and all. So it's literally nearly a decade in the making, and a lot of
Hmm.
thought went into it, because for us it's never really about how do we build the old hotel, like, and make it look newer, but it's about the philosophy that goes into it. So for example, like, even just looking at the wellness for, before this, wellness was very much just the massage and the spa. For us now, that wellness really kind of get transformed into something that is a lot more holistic, and there's so many different touch points that we basically do, with this, right from the moment you walk into the hotel to all the programmings that we also do, to the facilities as well. We have very, very beautiful spa, but then that's just a small part of that whole kind of the wellness execution chain.
Hmm.
We have this beautiful kind of like a sound healing dome, in the middle of the hotel, where people go in there just to do meditation, to do, sound healing, for example, breathing works. And so what I'm trying to say is that, in ways of modernizing, I think for me, it's about how do we get in touch with like the modern needs, or the needs of the now generations, or the future generations. And I think the
Hmm.
now and the future generations, what they want more is really to kind of experience this whole, like, immersiveness of what the brand or the property can actually provide, and also what we really kind of stand for, right? In terms of
Hmm.
the purpose, in terms of, providing, like, not just like, like the bells and whistles and all the amenities and the facilities, because otherwise sometimes, like, you get into this amenities wall as well, and that's something that
Hmm.
we don't want
Yeah.
to do. And for us, we want to really connect, to people, emotionally, but also in terms of the values. And this is something that I really, me and the team have been trying to implement, not just only in this flagship, but every single hotels now that we basically operate. And We look more closely at the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first and foremost, um, and obviously, for us back in the days, when we look at, when we said we're a Thai hotel company, we look at all these design and motifs and all this stuff. I mean, we kind of like got rid of that in a large amount as well, and we want to see, like what would be the true kind of like Thai design of the future.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just basically, us working more with, local craftsmanships and artists,
Yeah.
to really kind of like, and also collaborating. We want to go out and collaborate with people who share the same visions and ideas with us.
Yeah, no, I saw it firsthand when I went there. It was very modern instead of a minimalistic. I don't know. I'm not a design person, so the language may not be right,
Sure.
but it sounded minimalistic and high end without being opulent in the old school way, is what I would say.
Yeah.
And the sort of the design of the look and feel of the place, sort of those, I don't know again what the term would be, but sort of a muted stone look
Mm.
through the lobby, and then the
Yeah.
leaves, the different designs of the doors and the leaves, everything else sort of blended. I
Yeah.
actually asked one of your employees there, what does this mean? What does that mean? And she was very generous in explaining sort of, here's how the door, here's the history, and it's so very much about the local
Yes.
artists and local craftsmen that help create different parts of it. The question I have as a follow-up is like, when you go, for instance, I'm just making it up, to Qatar, for instance, Doha,
Mhm.
are you then working with the local artists there, or are you bringing in the Thai Thai sensibility
Well, the
there?
thing is, like, I mean, the good thing about like Thai culture, and I think that's why, a lot of people love coming to Thailand because of the fact that, for us, we're very, very open, as people, like, I mean, in terms of our
Yeah,
culture, we are, I mean, like, we are very welcoming also. So for me, as a Thai company, it's not necessary that we go somewhere and we need to, whether it's copy and paste or whether, like we need to really kind of plaster the the Thainess, everywhere, because I see the beauty about our culture, whether it's, the design, whether it's also our hospitality or approach of doing things, is very much how do we basically blend, the Thainess with the local culture as well at the same time. And I think that's what is really important. And then you look at Thailand, I mean, as a country, I mean, we blend, so many different cultures, from Malaysia,
yeah,
from
you
the
do.
south,
Yeah,
China, from the north, Indian, cultures and cuisine as well, and
influences.
and and
Yeah,
and and even our language, derived from Sanskrit, right? So, like,
yeah.
and you look at our food, whether you're talking about, the northern food and the northeast, the central region or the southern region, and it's really is just a mix of everything combined. And so, yeah, and that's basically the approach in which we do as well. So when we go to somewhere, like, for example, I just came back from the Maldives and just opened a second property there, last week,
Mm,
in Malé. And of course, we have, you know, Thai restaurants, we have a Thai spa, and when the guest comes on board, we would greet them, with a Y, which is a very, very much
right.
a Thai gesture of welcoming.
A
But we
Thai.
also are
Yeah.
very, very mindful as well. So I was talking to the team that was doing all this training, and they specifically have, areas in which you should do the Y, which is like the salute of, greeting, and areas which we will not be doing them basically. So it's
Oh,
really much done. It's not very, it's not like it's accident, that oh, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. But it's done through curation, through design, understanding the customer's journey, when they want it, when they don't want it, because they also want to feel the local culture, and this is why, like, also when there's,
mm-hmm.
during the opening ceremony, last week, we asked this Parabadi drum, which is a local traditional Maldivian drum, that we would basically be,
Mm,
we are having this like drum circles, like around the island. So it's literally just about this blend of different culture, which is, if you think about it, that's what hospitality should be all about.
yeah, yeah. So as you're thinking about the 9 hospitality brands that you now have that are sort of now, would it be fair to say from mid-scale all the way up?
Yes. So, our mid-scale brand, we have, I mean, we have one kind of limited service mid-scale brand, but it's very much lifestyle driven, called Asai.
Which is the first non-Dusit branded
Yes, that's
name,
right.
right?
That is correct. Yeah, and then it goes all the ways up to Deverana, which is our retreat brand. Before that it used to be called Dusit Deverana, but we just rebranded to be called Deverana a Dusit Retreat, in which we're also opening in India. Our third property in the Maldives will also be under that brand as well. And basically, so,
Yeah.
and obviously everything in between that. So from luxury wellness all the way to kind of like lifestyle, limited service, mid scale, and then obviously we have all the
Hmm.
up and scale up, upscale, up scale, and etc. etc. We also have service apartment. We also have villa rental, one of the biggest one in Asia Pacific under the brand of Elite
Yeah.
Heavens. For example.
Yeah.
So I mean altogether.
And these are villas that you don't technically own, but you manage
Exactly,
for.
exactly. We manage for them, but so we are a marketing and management platform, basically. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, in terms of your business today, how much of it is Thailand versus Asia versus rest of the world, like percent wise?
I mean, in terms of, I mean, we still have quite large numbers of properties in Thailand, but I mean, we operate in over
Hmm.
20 countries in four different continents,
Okay.
right? And then even in the US, I mean, we don't have anything in continental, United States, but we have three properties in Guam, for example, which is yeah. So
Yeah, it's technically a US, a
Technically
part
a
of US.
US, exactly, exactly. We obviously predominantly serving the Koreans and Japanese market, but we do have very, very beautiful hotels there as well. And yeah, so but I mean, majority of hotel in which we own is actually in Thailand.
And the mandate is that for you is to grow outside of Thailand.
Yes, that is correct. I mean, Thailand is still very, very important for us. I mean, as a country, we're still one of the top destinations. Despite obviously
Right.
now a little bit of a subdued like environment. Even all the the ones that shouldn't be answered, they're the one that definitely should be asked. But anyway, yeah, so I think yes, and I mean we still want to diversify. That's basically what I'm trying to do is one of my mission. I mean we have seen through COVID, which is one of the biggest crises we've had as a company. Where majority of hotels in which we operate and own are actually in Asia. And as a region, we were very much the last to react. To
Yeah.
really
Shut for a long
exactly
time.
shut for
Yeah.
a long time. And I remember we were still deep in lockdown when and then London was basically hosting like the Euro finals at Wembley with 50,000, 60,000 people in attendance, and we were still wearing masks and just staying in our own houses and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think the diversification is a key, but also now because I feel that it's not really like just an opportunistic approach, but in terms of the strategy as well, we believe that we do have something that is truly unique. I mean, also if you look at a lot of our peers, not just in Thailand, but also in Asia as a whole. As an Asian brand and as collectively as Asian brands, like we are also kind of moving towards like the market in the West because I feel that I think people want also something that is different, that is a bit more unique, that is could be even a little bit more
Yeah.
exotic, for example, right? So and I think
Yeah.
like everybody comes to Asia, whether you come to Japan and China and Southeast Asia or India or anywhere, and they really taste the different level of hospitality and the vibrancies, and so
Yeah.
I think it's just the right timing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I've talked about quite a bit is sort of the West has lost the plot
Mhm.
on hospitality. I mean, they generally lost the plot. That's a general statement. But in terms of hospitality, there's reason why, and you, I'm sure, travel all over the
Mhm.
world. Like in the West or New York City, etc. You go to hotels anywhere from upscale to the highest end,
Mm.
whatever. Um, the hospitality is not there, which is why people are gravitating towards more east in terms of, the hospitality level that, as you said, you have, or Middle East has, or India has, et cetera, is that one, is just inherent in the culture. And I think the West, by being, this is a bigger topic that you and I will probably discuss sometime, by being individualistic as a
Mm,
culture, has basically taken it to the extreme where it turns out in hospitality, the collectivism that was there in your culture or my
yeah,
culture from India, et cetera, is lends itself directly now. It's just a matter of training them the right way
sure.
to be able to direct them. So I think that is what I'm hearing more and more, and being able to see as somebody, not just as a traveler, but somebody from the
Yeah.
travel industry, which is what
Yeah,
people
but
want.
also I think that I mean, don't forget, like, I mean, you get whether it's in, the US, or especially in the US more than anywhere else, right? Because obviously, back I think in the 80s and the 90s, like all the Americans were the one that basically travel out, in droves, whether it's for leisure or
Yeah.
and then also mostly also for business as well. So, you get all these huge American brands that basically became global brands, and obviously they start consolidating themselves, and so what you get, like in the West, especially in the US, especially in also now, you see in Europe with Accor, being the prime example for that. Is that you get super strong global players, and that are continuously consolidating. And these guys, they're great, by the way. I have a lot of friends, and that work with them and for them. And as a company, the size of us, we always kind of looked up and always are in awe of what they do, right? But because of that, I mean,
Mhm.
us being small, and I think a lot of Asian brands are still relatively quite small. We are, we need to find our angle of uniqueness. What is our value proposition? And we need to really hone in on that, because we don't have that sheer size. We don't have that sheer number. We don't have, the same level or such power of distributions and technologies, and and all of this infrastructure. So for us, what we need to really push out more than ever before is that uniqueness, and that uniqueness comes from the approach of hospitality. We're not just a system where we would plug the hotels in and then let the system kind of runs itself. We still need to, and that's why, like, I came back to you, when you asked me about, this whole Thai hospitality, and I came back to you and said that whole personalization. When we go out,
Mhm.
to our, different partners or different properties, we still look at, what are the needs of the market, and of the people, right? Because that's what we want to provide. It's never, just a one kind of like a size fit all, and we don't put any
Yeah.
property just in this kind of like a standardized box. Every single project that we look at, we have this very much bespoke approach to it. And this is why I think, we are, so it's also because of the environment that we are very, very much kind of force ourselves to think this way, and to execute things this way as well. Yeah.
Yeah. You use the word personalization, and I'll pivot it a little
Mm.
bit to sort of technology and AI. Uh, at the level you're at, you're obviously not a giant player that has endless resources on, say, AI development.
No, not at all. And actually, I was dreading you, kind of asking me this, but please go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. Is it well, let me ask it this way. Is it cropping up in your day-to-day life personally?
Yeah, yes. I mean, just to just I'm a very, very low tech person. I just started, you know, to learn how to use ChatGPT, I would say about 6 months ago. So, and I'm
Okay.
not really in touch with social media either. I just have, like one.
Well, that's for better, honestly. Trust me
I
on
mean,
this
I
one.
do have an
Yeah.
Instagram account which I set is private, and I have like a different name and different persona there. But I mean, I just maybe I shouldn't say this, but I just have it just to stalk on my digital marketing managers at each hotel, and then kind of like and that.
You should not be saying that, but
But
yeah.
that's the truth, right? And then sometimes I get a funny message to me. It's like, hey, I'm not sure if this aligns with our brand, kind of thing. But yeah, like you've got to, I guess, keep on top of things. Though. No, I'm a very,
Well,
very, very,
you have to look at,
yeah,
yeah, you have to look at what your team is doing. And
yeah,
so,
exactly.
and if a lot of it is in social, which it is these
Yeah.
days, you have to be able to look
Yeah.
at it. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's true. I don't have Instagram myself, and I always, whenever somebody sends me something, I say, I don't know what to do. I can't look at it because I don't have Instagram or TikTok. Um, but is it in general sort of what is your level of satisfaction with this with technology deployment at Dusit today?
So look, I think all the standard things that we do them very, very, very well. Because it's, for us, being obviously a publicly listed company, we need to
Uh-huh.
ensure that we have the right foundations, for all of these things. Obviously in terms of, all the, how should I put it, some more kind of technologically advanced stuff. I think we as a because of due to our size as well, I think we what we want to do is we want to learn what other people are kind of doing and what kind of work. We always believe in the right balance between what we call a high tech and a high touch. And I
Yeah,
think that's what also hospitality it should be all about as well.
right.
I for one think that when it comes to technology, you know, I don't think that should be the main kind of, how should I put this, like the main um bread and butter in itself. I think the main bread and butter
Yeah.
should be like the human touch, right? So and it should be like, I think it should be like the time that your own staff can actually interact with your own guests. And if there's a technology that comes in
Uh-huh.
and help your own staff to get to do that more in a more effective way, and also in a more, I would say, meaningful way, then that's amazing, right? So for me, the real commodity is
Mhm.
actually humans' time, not the real commodity is not really the technology in itself, and that's how I see thing in our own industry. We do use some of these technologies, and then they're not high tech or anything. It's just more processes, right? We have like self-service check-in in a brand called Asai because of our limited service. One of my KPI for that brand is to get to a very optimal point of staff to room ratio, for example, in which we achieve about 0.26, which is actually not bad. And because of that, we only need to have one person at the check-in counter, and the rest is just kind of like self-service check-in, for example. I mean, all of this thing is nothing new, but what it does that it basically leave, the time of a staff, you know, as opposed to them doing all this mundane stuff, to check people in, to key in information, they are basically are able to interact with our customers in a different way, in a much more engaging way. And I think that for me is the real use of technology in our industry in the front end. Obviously, in the back end, there's so much more that you can do with all this AI and data, and all this analytics. I think in terms of whether it's digital marketing, whether in terms of the distribution, or in terms of
Revenue
revenue
management,
management. Yeah,
distribution, yeah.
exactly. All these things would definitely be you know enhanced by it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about Thailand and sort of the state of Thailand today has been having some challenges up and down, some of it self-imposed, some of it not their fault, and some of the upheaval in the country.
Mm.
So, what is your sense of what Thailand needs to do on the tourism front? Still, I mean, Bangkok, one of the world's most visited
Yeah.
cities, continues to be as a gateway to the rest of Thailand. In fact, gateway to I'm guessing rest of Southeast Asia too.
I mean, I think like I don't really believe in luck as much, but if that's one year to really just think, oh man, what has been happening? I think 2025 has been a very let's say again,
Unlucky
unlucky
year.
year for Thailand. Because I mean,
Yeah.
we were hit by basically once in a generation or once in a multi-generational like natural disaster like the earthquake, right? In
Uh-huh.
which my maternal grandmother is 92 years old, and I asked her, when was the last time you felt something like this, and she was like, never, you know. and
Yeah.
I mean, we had like, really, really good, I would say, end of last year, December, January, February, and that was when I thought that, you know what, the pre-COVID number is really coming back, right? But
Yes, within
yeah,
reach.
and
Yeah.
as soon as, March happened, when that earthquake happened, like everything has gone,
Hmm.
quite soft, and obviously there's all these geopolitical problem. There's also this, I would say, this kind of political problems closer to home as well between Thailand and Cambodia, which obviously I think is completely unnecessary and doesn't really help. Of course, like being a Thai, I would always, support, like our, sovereignty, and obviously the
Right.
needs to defend ourselves. But obviously, I think just like everybody else, we also want peace and obviously, like the fact that, people are being killed and displaced, is something that we don't really, really need at all. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know how, I think at the end of the day, look, and that's this all these things is very, very much out of our individual control, right? But what I
Yeah.
see is that, I think, um international communities needs to work together more. I think ASEAN, right, needs to work, so together more as well. Because if
Uh
you look
huh.
at ASEAN, which is, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, we are
Right.
very diverse. We have, I mean, really amazing and beautiful cultures. And yeah,
Incredible. Yeah. Yeah.
and everything, right? And then it's so different. And from the Philippines all the way to Indonesia and Brunei and kind of like
Malaysia.
and
Yeah. All
everything in
different.
between. We have such a diverse and really, I would say this. Just yeah, just a beautiful kind of cultures and so much to give. So I think if we can really kind of work together. And I'm not just saying on the political front because that's something out of our control, but even just in terms of our industry, just to really promote
Yeah.
cross cultural, kind of exposure bonding, and that's what we really want to do within hospitality in ourselves as well. And I think that's what we also been trying to do in terms of our education front, because as a company, we do say we also have quite, a large, hospitality education components. And this is something that we're also
Uh
pushing
huh.
out as well, and in creating this, hospitality education that is ASEAN competency standards. And we provide a lot of these curriculum, to a lot of our neighboring countries because, guess what? I
Ah.
mean,
Okay.
tourism and hospitality, when we bridge people together, when we bridge culture together, it can also be, and definitely should be the force for good. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Okay. One last question. In terms of the region of the world that you're most excited about in terms of expanding today for with all what you're doing, what would that be?
Okay.
Or the country or the
The
region?
region okay, so for me, I mean, I look, I think, just because we're in the Southeast Asian topic, I still think Southeast Asian still has so much potential, right? I mean, we have
Uh
like
huh.
what, 700 million, people, our landscapes and food and language and culture and religion is so diverse. And I think, I still think Southeast Asia is still
Uh
very
huh.
much, a region that I would always, have my focus on. And this is why that was also what made me kind of, you know, compelled to mention this news. That I think we can work together more, find way to bring people more from Europe or Australia or anywhere else, right? And create like a better connectivity, between each of the destination or the city. I think that is such a massive advantage. So, within Southeast Asia for
Uh
sure. I
huh.
mean, my focus in Southeast Asia now is in, Malaysia, Indonesia, and also in Vietnam as well. The Philippines,
Yeah. Vietnam is
yeah,
booming. Yeah. It's
exactly.
just off the
Exactly.
charts
Vietnam is
booming. Yeah.
also on the chart. Yeah. And but also in the Philippines, where we have also very, very strong base, in the Philippines,
Mm.
and it's a country that has also a huge, domestic market. which is very, very different to
It
Thailand, by
does.
the way.
Yeah.
Thailand's domestic market is like nothing compared to a lot of our neighboring
Uh,
countries. So yeah, nations with a big domestic market, we're still very much bullish on. Obviously, China for us is a it's a market where we always.
do you have
Yes, we
anything
do. Yeah, we have
in
about 10
China?
hotels in China, which is
Okay.
very,
Okay.
very little because in China, for you to make like a big impact, you need like probably like about 100 or two, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. True. You're correct.
yeah, and we just we 2 years ago, we about a year and a half ago, in fact, we went to Japan and we had very successful openings there. So we got 2 hotels in
Okay.
Japan. It's just extremely well.
Which continues to boom too. Yeah. I
Exactly.
mean,
Yeah.
it's a just yeah.
And in India, obviously India for me is one of the the biggest market with the biggest upside. And it's such a fascinating market
Yeah.
as well.
Just the sheer volume.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the rest, I think, I mean,
Are you going in with a local partner in India, or are you going in because India usually you have to
yeah,
go
we do.
like
Yeah,
typically a lot of people go to.
exactly. Yeah, so we have also local partners in which we work with. It's a very, very, it's quite a complicated market.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, anything real estate is hard there in
yeah,
India.
exactly,
Uh,
exactly. So
yeah.
and this is not the first time. We about 15, 16 years ago, we opened our first hotel in New Delhi. And that didn't work out.
Ah.
But it's okay. I think at the end of the day, we do have the commitment and the perseverance, to come back in this market because it's so. I think it's one of the most fascinating, but also a very, very important market for us. And then, the rest I would say, like, in Saudi Arabia, is where we're also putting a lot of focus on as well. And then, of course, in Europe, which is, like a new territory for us, that we really want to enter.
Yeah. Well, thank you. This is fascinating, and I'm glad that we met at you came and spoke at our conference, and now we're speaking here. We've been covering more news from Dusit and generally Thailand quite a bit because it is a force in the travel
Mm,
industry and continues to be. And hope to see you. We're going to be back in Bangkok next year for our Asia Forum too. So
amazing.
it looks like we're still early in that planning process, but hopefully we'll go from there. All right. Thank you, champ.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much, Rafael.
Thank you for listening to the Skiff Travel Podcast. Wherever you're listening, please make sure to subscribe. If you like what you're hearing, rate us 5 stars or leave us a positive review. It really helps get the word out about us, our podcast, and make sure that we can still continue to bring it to you free of charge every week.
If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell as well. That way you'll know every time we have a new episode.
Hey listeners, this episode is brought to you by EF World Journeys. Today's travelers want more from their vacation. That's why more people are turning to travel professionals to help them explore the world with confidence. For nearly 35 years, EF World Journeys has been the go-to guided experiential travel company for leisure travelers who want to learn more about people, places, and cultures around the world. Its brands EF Ultimate Break, EF Go Ahead Tours, and EF Adventures serve everyone from Gen Z to baby boomers and help tens of thousands of US and Canadian travelers every year explore 400 bucket list destinations. EF World Journeys is one of North America's biggest guided group tour companies, and its expert planned immersive itineraries focus on the big moments and little things that make travel and meeting new people so rewarding. It's experiential travel that goes deeper, where every journey builds a connection, inspires wellness, and fuels a lifelong love of learning. EF World Journeys, guided by experts, driven by curiosity. To learn more, go to efworldjourneys.com.